In this video, we're going to explain how you can save yourself a lot of money, save yourself from buying a poor quality product dressed up as something fancy, and a bunch of stuff that many brands really don't want you to know about. We all know about badge engineering. Well, most of us do. As with some of the examples we show here, where we see it in cars all the time, and this is nothing new. All the car manufacturers have been doing this for decades. Most people get that and understand it and know what they're buying into because there's an enthusiastic barrage of magazines and press all about cars that will tell you about who's using whoever else's platform or parts bins or tyres or whatever. For appliances, there's nothing. You've got no information at all as a buyer. And yet, almost every single manufacturer will buy and sell the products that they produce to others. You will notice that in the introduction I said clearly brands and not makers or manufacturers or producers. Well, that was very deliberate. This is because there are scores of brands out there that sell appliances that make nothing, not a thing, not one single product. All they do is sell stuff made by others with their badge plonked on it. Often they don't even bother to change the look that much, but then how much can you change the look to confound buyers? Okay, so now we've made you aware that there are a lot of appliances that, other than skin deep at best, alterations, they're pretty much the same. But why should you care? That is actually the easy part of this to explain, and also explain why we think this is bad for buyers. Very bad actually. Through this video, we're going to look at a few examples that will show you quite dramatically why this is bad for you, and why that if you do not research the appliances you buy, the chances are you may well pay too much or get an inferior product for more money than you should have spent. Brand owners do not like this, not one bit. We've had several complaints over the years about UK white goods highlighting on the website poor quality products, poor support, poor spare part availability, no technical support and much more. To be honest, we don't care. We think that we owe it to our readers and our customers to tell them about all this. After all, it seems nobody else will. Typical examples of this are found all over the appliance industry, and you can find out a lot more in the articles that have gone into this in far more depth about each individual brand. And if you need more help, please feel free to ask in the forums for more personal advice from the people that fix the machines, as they really know what's inside them. But good examples that highlight the practice really well are found in high value appliances like the American side-by-side fridge freezers and range cookers, but they're by far not the only ones you'll find. Even massive global brands, let alone the smaller, more localised ones, will all buy in especially niche products from other producers. Let's look at some examples to demonstrate what we mean by this. Bosch. You probably think that Bosch make everything they sell, and many people think it's all made in Germany. Sadly, neither of those are true. Bosch products are made all over the world, not just in Germany. In fact, not a lot actually does come from Germany now. But here we're looking at the rebranded products, and the best example is the side-by-side fridge freezers sold under the Bosch brand. Bosch don't make them. Daewoo do, in Korea. You can buy a Bosch for well in excess of £1,000, or you can buy more or less exactly the same machine with a Daewoo badge on it for less than £800. What would you do if you knew that Bosch you'd forked out all that cash for was actually a cheap, rebadged Daewoo? So much for German, but it is efficient. Rangemaster. Rangemaster are well known for their range of cookers, and generally the range cookers are okay. But almost every other product Rangemaster sell is just something else that's been rebranded for them. So we've got cheap Chinese dishwashers, cheap Chinese refrigeration, cheap Turkish cookers, and on it goes. But people are prepared to pay a premium for the premium badge, if you can consider Rangemaster a premium badge, of course. A good example is a cooker that's made in Turkey that sells under other brands, many other brands in fact, for about £300 to £400, but it's selling as a Rangemaster for £700, or should we say masquerading as a Rangemaster. Or how about a fridge freezer we came across? It was almost £2,000, it was only £60 shy. As a Rangemaster, yet the same machine as a Hisense, who made it for Aga Rangemaster, for less than £800. And we wish we could make that much margin, and we're sure many other businesses would too. Maybe we're just too honest. And you can find these things all over the place. We found Range Master products, people buying AGA badges for them because the AGA machine was hundreds of pounds more expensive. It is madness. These are but only two examples to demonstrate that even well-known and respected brands will rebrand other products to fill a niche, and that's not really surprising when you consider that the cost to set up a production line to make an appliance can run to millions of pounds. It's cheaper just to buy in low-volume products, and that's absolutely fine. But to sell them with retail prices of double or more than the original product and not tell people about it, well, that's just wrong in our book. Brand owners may well think that people don't need to know this and we should just shut up and not tell anyone. Why though? If they're not doing anything wrong, they're transparent and they run an ethical business, then why should their potential customers not know the truth about the products that they buy? Or is it perhaps that they do not want buyers to know that there are large profits to be gained by not telling people about this? We'll let the audience decide. To show how endemic this problem of rebadging has become in the appliance industry, we're going to look at one example of a producer that sells a lot of rebadged products into the UK and also most of Europe. Vestel are a Turkish manufacturer that many outside the industry will probably never have heard of, and yet they produce a monumental amount of appliances. It's just that most of them are not sold under the Vestel brand name. The company is vast, with its very own city known as Vestel City, where most of the goods it produces are made. It's so big, in fact, it was featured on the Discovery Channel as a mega factory. That's how huge this is. Vestel will make appliances, among other things, for almost anyone. So long as you've got the cash, you can have almost anything made for you. All you need to do is browse through their catalogue, choose the basic product specification, choose the design and the fascia, and then get your name stamped on the front. That's it. It's easy and it's cheap, or at least it's a lot cheaper than setting up a production line and building the machines for yourself, as if that was the case, there would be maybe a dozen or so brands around now, and yet we have scores of them. Many of them make nothing at all. Whether or not this is wrong, immoral, deceitful, or whatever else is largely open to debate, but one thing that cannot be denied is that buyers are not being made aware of the practice, and another is that there is no protection against the practice. This is completely legal. You may wonder how bad all this is, so let's try and show you. Vestel makes machines for all that follow and many more besides in the UK and through Europe, as well as their own brands, ones that Vestel actually own, like Vestel and Now Service, but also under licenses Sharp. Let's start with Panasonic. Then there's Russell Hobbs for Asda, then Statesman, and Swan for Great Universal, Matsui for Currys, Montpellier, Amica, although Amica have moved on to others as well, Essentials again for Currys, Bosch for Argos, White Knight, Laundry and Refrigeration also, we believe, and that's just a few. That's us just getting started. People will often think that they're buying a unique product from a unique brand with great values, support and so on, when the reality is, all these machines, they're more or less the same thing. Some you can get parts and service for, some you can't. Some are reasonable value, some are not. Even we get turned around at times and not fully sure who actually made some of the products, as this is so well hidden, with the actual origin of the products hidden, part numbers for spares altered to hide the true source, no technical documentation, and a myriad of other tricks to try and disguise the reality. Sometimes though, despite all that, we know what the machines are, where they were made, how good or bad they are. You can find out a lot more about which brands actually make products in the manufacturer section of UK White Goods. Just use the link at the menu at the bottom of the page to find out more about the product you may be thinking of buying. For even more personal help though, you can use a totally free to use forum where the helpful people in there will help you decide which machines are worth buying and often which ones are not. And that's usually from the engineers or the people that actually sell them. They can also tell you which machines that you can get service and parts from, which you won't or will have hassles with. And after all, you wouldn't buy a car if you could only get service from an authorised dealer, or indeed you couldn't get any parts for. Why would you? Why would you do that with your appliances? It may well even save you from a few pounds by buying the same thing under a different brand name to saving hundreds of pounds when shopping for appliances. Or which ones might last and have decent service life. Can you really afford not to research a little and to ask for some impartial advice if you need it, and all the more so when it comes at absolutely no cost? We'll leave you some links below to get you started.